Going as far back as the 25th century BCE, poetry has always taught treasured lessons. Themes ranging from the panegyric to the elegiac gave listeners insights into life and how to live it. Rhythmic words replete with wisdom traveled throughout the Nile, Niger, and Volta. Forceful as a wind current, the need for didactic verses became diasporic. For this event, talented spoken word artists will share one poem by a writer who influenced their life and work. Upon completion, the orators may recite their compositions. That format resonates with deeper meaning than the cliche Newtonian quote about giants. Actually, the program is designed with this paraphrased African proverb in mind. A wise will is dedicated to the ancestors, for it is they who gave you everything. Our first guest is Zenobia Lundy. As early as her teens, this undergraduate of Temple University wrote poetry. Over a decade, she worked in public housing, managing Raymond Rosen Manor and Richard Allen Homes. Many of her verses were inspired by the people who were there. She currently works for the federal government. At present, this resident of Philadelphia will lend her production expertise to the Harlem Book Fair. Sister Lundy, kindly share your tribute and original work with us.
Yes, good evening, Bob. It's nice to see everybody, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be here tonight. I am currently the author of two books. This is Prose and Light. I'm going to read you, I guess, one piece from this, and then I'll read some from our ancestors and poets that have gone before us. I like to give a little history behind my poetry. And I think being brown, and I guess especially being brown in America right now, is very challenging. But I wrote this a few years back, but it definitely resonates today. It's entitled, Because I Am Brown. Do you look away because I am brown? Do you think I can't achieve because I am brown? For all the times you ignored me because I was brown, did you not see me standing there? My heart aches sometimes because I am brown, but I reach further and I stretch more. I dream bigger, I swayed smoother, and I sang louder. I jumped higher and I hit every ball higher and hugged tighter. But most of all, I love so much more because I am brown. That's basically the tone of most of my works. I try to lift my people up through my poetry. And unfortunately, most poets and artists that write don't get notoriety until they are gone. One of the poets that I just kind of found out about, and as a matter of fact, she was born in Harlem in 1936, was June Jordan. A fantastic poet, also Rita Dove. I will definitely highlight both of those poets at the Harlem Book Fair, but I will read you a few lines from a poem that June wrote. It's called Apologies to, I thought it was very apropos for what we're going through right now. Apologies to all, and it's a long poem, so I'm just going to read a few stanzas from it. It's apologies to all the people in Lebanon. I didn't know and nobody told me, and what could I do or say anyway? They said you shot the London ambassador, and when that wasn't true, they said so. What? They said you shelled their northern villages, and when UN forces reported that was not true because your side of the ceasefire was holding since more than a year before, they said so. What? They said they wanted simply to carve a 25-mile buffer zone, and then they ravaged your water supply and your electricity, and then they created the rubble. Then they told you to leave, didn't they? That's Rita Dove. She was kind of a poet slash activist, and most of the poets of the past have been poet slash activist.
Yes.
Okay,
Very good.
thank you.
Yes. Thank you, gifted soul.
I can always expound on stuff if you have time.
Oh, absolutely. If time allows, I would
I
love to
started
hear
writing,
more.
I give you a little history on me. I started writing poetry at a very young age, and I've always
Mhm.
written poetry. I'm just new to publishing. And like most poets, I wrote on church brochures, notebook paper, whatever. I write in longhand and then I type in Word. And really, life is poetry in its purest form. And I think exposing yourself to other artists and other art forms is always an inspiration to write.
Agreed.
And the one thing, I've been on a lot of Zooms this month because it's National Poetry Month, but a lot of the Zooms, they always say, what advice would you give to new poets or people writing? And the main thing is never compare yourself to anyone else or to any poet because it's art, just like Da Vinci never compared himself to anybody. You are unique. It's only one of you, so you can only create your poetry. So
Well
that's
said.
that's the best thing. Never compare yourself to anyone or your writing.
Well said. Now, our second guest is Moazzam Sheikh. He is a librarian in San Francisco by profession and author of two short story collections and three novellas. He has translated Urdu, Hindi, Punjabi, and English. Furthermore, he is also the senior editor of the newly started literary magazine, Weaver's Literary Review, which is primarily dedicated to South Asian American writers as well as other nationalities. Brother Sheikh, kindly share your tribute and original work with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I feel honored. Uh, so, just a couple of words. I'm primarily a fiction writer and a translator, as Brother Bob explained, but I look up to poets, and my own writing is informed by the beautiful work of poets I have befriended in America or the poetry I've grown up hearing. That was such a strong part of my culture in Pakistan. Uh, the poetry we sing or we hear, I just realized that it goes back to 1100. You know, so it's just really dear to me to be around poets and to know them as personal friends just makes a big difference. So I'm gonna read a poem by a dear friend of mine who used to be my roommate. And when I was starting to write, his critique and his criticism and his mentoring uh, played a big role in my own development as a writer. How to pay attention to word, how to pay attention to the length of a sentence, how to place different words together. So for that's my way of honoring him. The poem is called "The Magpie of Goya." I know they say I'm living in cuckoo cloud land, and I am the equal of a fool. These claims, for which I will sue imminently, are quite risible. It is true that I live at 30,000 feet among the highest Cyrus, but it is equally true that the ace house here, with its frame, ah, that the ice house here, with its frame of white whale bone, is no nest or eyrie. Yet sea and sky are one here. The gannet is equally at home here as the magpie, yet the latter, from the mind of Goya, presides as long as it can freely imitate the white gannet and the blue footed pelican with equal nuance. This is a house like no other at 30,000 feet, even if a foot above it, the ice houses are the same as this one. Yet each one has a frame of Even my enemies admit that there is not a single silver chamber pot in the house. All of them are made of albino cormorant feathers. Another wild eyed claim is that I'm flightless. Need I say again that I live among the high Cyrus? One morning I went to a silver nimbus, not far from the ice house, yet as soon as I saw the impassive eye of a crane, I went home. Why was her eye so inexpressive? Was she that incurious about the view here of the white sea? At once after I left the silver nimbus, the crane, still seemingly unmoved, also began to fly toward the high Cyrus, as the nimbus, darkening within, became colorless gray, and then pewter, while the hail began to fly from side to side, stinging me, the air, and the impassive crane. Along with the sky, the hail, too, was now more and more red. The cry of the egrets, lower in the nimbus, stirred the other high flyers from the raining cloud. An array of egrets and herons, 5 score of them, all of them long naped and long billed, began to fly upward in unison to the high Cyrus, like starlings initially flying as a single sphere, then as a concave egg, and an immense white beluga, so sea and sky were one again. And now I move to a poet, living poet from Punjabi language, uh, who has also played a major role in my life, especially after I got married. I married someone whose father was at the time a writer of fiction and poetry in Punjabi language, and they were very well connected in a literary circle with this particular Punjabi poet. He's in his 90s. He's written about 100 books, and he has single handedly created a whole new generation of Punjabi writers because Punjabi, being the predominant language of Pakistan, is not taught in schools in Pakistan for complex political reasons. So, I mean, this is not the time to go into that, but I just wanted to honor him and his role in creating a consciousness to fight for their mother language.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I translated these 5 or 7 poems of his for Chicago Quarterly Review. I don't know if you can see that it's a lot of glare
Yes.
here. And they were very generous in publishing the poems. So I've chosen one, a short one. It's called You. You have vanished inside us, O unperturbed petite one. We became numb, searching for you in books. The paths only pile on more twists and turns. The billboards pop up all around, splashing our names, and from the loudspeakers hang our voices. At times, a glimpse of you, a warmth that flits across the eyes. This, the assurance, the hope for us, roam through the dazzling dark of our city like a black firefly. You have attired yourself, you, the Blessed One. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gifted Soul. All right. And let's see. Just give me one moment and we shall proceed. Our third guest is Edna Iris Garcia. She was born in Humacao, Puerto Rico. Furthermore, she received a BA and a master's degree in bilingual education. Edna was the first Latina in Fairfield County to be elected to the Connecticut General Assembly. Also, she was a high school teacher. Even to this day, she serves her community by helping the disenfranchised. Yet and still, she finds time to write. Sister Garcia, kindly share your tribute and original work with us. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and to share this space with you. I want to thank the Harlem Book Fair for the host for inviting us and making this happen, and especially Bob. I would have chosen you as my inspiration because you were the first one that told me that I could write. Although I've been a teacher for 35 years, I've never occurred to me that I had it in me to put anything together that was meaningful. But working with inspiring individuals and to share work with many people, I was inspired by a poet that I like to honor today. Her name was Julia de Burgos. She was a woman born on the same island that shaped me. Her voice rose beyond its shores and throughout her life ended tragically in the streets of New York. She was unnamed and buried on a potter's field, but her spirit refused to disappear. Her word survived, luminous and unbroken. She wrote only 2 poems in English. The rest were all in Spanish, and they've been translated. So today I will share with you one of her translations that was crafted in her native language. And that the name of that poem is I Was My Own Route. I wanted to be like men wanted me to be, an attempt at life, a game of hide and seek with my being. But I was made of nows, and my feet level on the promissory earth would not accept walking backwards. And I went forward, mocking the ashes to reach the kiss of my new paths. At each advancing step on my route forward, my back was ripped by the desperate flapping of wings of the old guard. But the branch was unpinned forever, and at each new whiplash, my look separated more and more and more from the distant familiar horizons. And my face took the expansion that came from within, that defined expressions that hinted at a new feeling of intimate liberation. A feeling that surged from the balance between my life and the truth of the kiss of the new path. Already, my course now set in the present, I felt myself blossom of all the soils of the earth, of the soil without history, of the soil without future, of the soil always without edges, of all the men and all the epochs. And I was all in me, as was life in me. I wanted to be like men wanted me to be, an attempt of life, a game of hide and seek with my being. But I was made of nows. When the heralds announced me at the regal parade of the old guard, the desire to follow men worked in me, and the homage was left waiting for me. Thank you. My second poem is one that I came up, like I told you, I didn't even know that I could come up. I thought I had to rhyme everything or that it had to be, and like Shirley said, you know, everybody has their own style and you write why. For some reason, I'm really good at writing essays. That was something I didn't know either, but I wrote essays that for some reason turned into poems. So I write a lot about social issues that concern me. And my first poem that was published was about domestic violence, because I think it's an issue that it is so important and that is also highly ignored for the most part. So the poem is called I Speak for Us. I speak the language of abused women. It sounds like screams in a nightmare. I speak the language of abused women. The words hold a ton of bricks around without the possibility of ever resting. I speak the language of abused women, feeling that there is no relief on the way. I speak the language of abused women. Its lifelong pain echoes throughout the struggle to rebuild lives. I speak the language of abused women because there are daily reminders all around of how our laws fail to defend them. I speak the language of abused women since they don't need the political feel-good talk from opportunists who pretend to know what it feels like to have one face constantly punched by a coward's fist. I speak the language of abused women because justice for battered women comes in small, slow doses, the way an IV drips fluid into veins. I speak the language of abused women for millions of victims who need help. I speak the language of abused women even though there seems to be no help inside. I'll speak the language of abused women until the day that everyone scares, and I will speak the language of abused women until the day that humanity takes a stand. Thank you for listening.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Very good.
Very nice, Edna.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you, gifted soul.
Mm.
Thank you all for sharing your brilliant work. Your verses resonate with timeless importance. Let's take a moment to acknowledge Max Rodriguez, the producer of this show. While on the subject of events, I hope to see you viewers at the live Harlem Book Fair coming up soon. For more information about it, kindly refer to the website. Now, allow me to conclude with this short and simple verse. Together, we are words, communicating our myriad racial and cultural distinctions. Together, we are written lines leading and building to philosophical points. Together, we are verses well versed in our lives. Together, we are a poem defining why we should always unify. Thank you. Thank you.